everyone, welcome back to How Have We Never Seen This Before? This week we discussed love in the time of Corona.
Stay tuned to hear us talk about how old couples are sad and cute, how nothing like this show has ever been done before, and how it also really missed the mark.
This is a podcast where two best friends talk about movies they've never seen before.
I'm Isabel.
And I'm Lauren.
And this is How Have We Never Seen This Before? The winner of this week's contest is one of my good friends, Aiden. Congratulations, Aiden. And if you want to be given a shout out at the beginning of one of our episodes, make sure to follow us on Instagram at How Have We Never Podcast and check out our Instagram story every week. Hi everyone, and welcome back to How Have We Never Seen This Before? We are on episode 2 of season 2, and we're watching Love in the Time of Corona. There's a lot to be said, or maybe not a lot. I don't know. We've kind of come to the consensus that we didn't like it. Our apologies to the creators. Before we begin, I'd like to say I thought this was a reality TV dating show.
So did I.
I was very disappointed.
Oh my god, same.
And there's a lot of things that are wrong with this, and I just couldn't get into it. And there's like something that Lauren thinks that I was thinking, and I'm not sure if it's going to be a repeat of last week where
it probably
the
will
opposite thing, but we'll see when we get there. So before we get into like how they recorded this show in a pandemic and why we don't like it, so basically this show, if you've ever seen This Is Us, it's sort of like that. Oh, Lauren hasn't. Okay. This won't work for everyone, but there are a lot of characters and they all have their own storyline, and it jumps in between each storyline while they're all trying to maneuver being married or starting relationships, or one of the plot lines is an older woman and her husband's in a nursing home, so there's a lot of different storylines, and they're like sort of all connected but also not. And it was I don't know, like it was like you went like halfway there. Maybe you should have kept going or not done it at all.
Yeah, I think they thought they were being clever or something by having them connect ever so slightly.
Yeah. It was just like, you didn't really need to put that in there.
Mm-hmm. The show is also on Freeform, so it's going to be very cheesy and very cringy. And it's also a limited series, so there were only 4 episodes, and we decided to watch all of them, and we really suffered doing that. So
yeah, and when you told me that there were only 4 episodes, I was like, oh, so the series is still going on. Like, there are only 4 episodes in. Yeah, but it's over.
Yes.
I just felt like everything wrapped up too quickly. I don't know.
It was kind of like a half-baked show. Like,
yeah,
no character got to develop, and their problems began and ended so quickly, and it all wrapped up so nicely at the end, and it was kind of annoying.
Yeah, it was just very strange.
Okay, so I've been doing some research and reading some articles. I think I found this on a CNN article. They did an interview with the woman who created the show, and basically, so for casting, they found actors who were already quarantining together, like the people who play James and Sade. James is played by Leslie Odom Jr., and they're already married, or they're already a couple, so they both acted in the show together since they were living together, which is I think is kind of cool. Like, once I found out how this show was filmed and put together, it kind of made me respect it just a teeny tiny bit. And so after they figured out the casting, people who were already living together, the crew sat in separate pod tents outside the actors' homes, and they would give them robotic cameras and gimbals to set up, and they would basically direct them virtually outside their house and set up sound and stuff like that outside their house and mic them. And the crew sat outside, and then on the inside of the houses, the actors adjusted the cameras based on the feedback from the crew. And yeah, so they filmed the whole thing in 2 weeks.
Hmm.
It shows. But I think it's kind of crazy how they were able to get out a freeform show so fast and stream it, because it was filmed in like either March, April, or May, and it's out already. And so they filmed it in 2 weeks, and they probably only had a few weeks to edit it as well and send it to post, which I think is kind of impressive. But also, the writing's terrible. Everything about the show is terrible, but I think the production was kind of impressive, especially because no one's done something like that before.
Yeah, that's like I agree. It makes me appreciate the show a little bit more
Hmm.
knowing that, but it also makes sense.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I didn't know any of that. I was waiting for your explanation on that. So, considering that they wrote it or whenever they wrote it or filmed it, I couldn't figure out when this was set. I guess it was like April maybe.
I think it was end of April into the beginning of May,
Yeah.
because the old couple's anniversary is like May 15th or
Yeah.
something around that date, and it ends on their anniversary. So I think it was April going into May.
Yeah, it was just like they were like, "Yeah, I have this anniversary party," and we didn't know when it was.
Yeah.
I was like, "So, like, where are we in this timeline?"
Some really important things that they should have mentioned in the very first episode took so long to get to. Around episode 3 or 4, things started to make sense, like setting, like place and time, like all of those things. Names,
Names?
exactly. um, um Genders even.
I like okay, so that was my thing. That's the thing that I was thinking of, like, am I an idiot or did they never say their names? Because the entire first episode, I was searching for names. I was like, I can't miss it. I can't miss it. I know there's going to be so many characters. And then I didn't get any names in the first episode. I got maybe one or two in the second. And then I still didn't have all of them by the end.
Yep. I had to look up everyone's name to like figure it out. I only remembered James, Oscar, and Gigi.
I I had James L, which is I didn't have Oscar. I had L, which is his friend,
um,
and uh, I knew Gigi, but I didn't really count that person. And Adam, the neighbor.
Adam. Sorry,
uh,
I'm on Vine right now. Well, I guess we should talk about the characters and introduce them all.
okay, so the first people that you're introduced to is a man and his wife, and they have a baby. So it's James, who's played by Leslie Odom Jr., his wife, who I don't know her name, and their baby Charlie.
Oh,
And
her name is Sade.
Sade, okay, I never got that. So their first like real issue or like some trouble that they face is that James wants another baby, but the wife, Sade, doesn't really want it right now. And it's really like back and forth about, oh, wait, now that the wife is like talking about it to this friend, she's like, oh, maybe I do want a baby. And then she's like, yes, I want a baby. And then they start trying for a baby. And then they add in the killing of Ahmaud Arbery. And it like really shifts James' opinion about having another child. And then he he tells her that he never wants another child at all. And but she's like very gung ho. She's been telling a lot of people about it. And there's also like a second plot line that James wasn't spending enough time at home before. So that's like now that he's home, she thought things would be better, but now it's like worse because he doesn't want another baby, and it's just like a big old mess. And I think like his story also ties in. It's mostly like James's story, and it ties in with his mother and then his younger, maybe older brother, but that's like another storyline kind of.
Yeah. The storyline that they're kind of connected to because they're family is, you say her name Nanda?
I didn't get her name either.
Okay. Let's just call her grandma.
Yeah.
Okay, so you have James's mom. I call her grandma, and she is very cute. She is a very good chef. She's always cooking things, and she is planning a lawn party or some sort of like anniversary party for her husband, Charlie or Charles, who is
Okay.
currently in the hospital or like
It looks like a nursing
rehab.
home. Yeah.
Yes. So he has dementia and they're planning on getting him home because okay, all the characters in this show think that quarantine is going to end by like the beginning of May,
Hmm.
which is bizarre because all the way back in April, like the beginning of April, we knew that the stay at home order was pushed back until the end of May anyway.
Especially for California because they were in like a really bad state.
Yeah, exactly. So some of that doesn't line up with reality. Um like
Yeah.
the only time we ever thought that coronavirus was just going to last like 2 weeks was like at the beginning of March when the first stay at home order was put in place. We
Yeah.
were like, "Oh, we just need to quarantine for 2 weeks, then we'll be fine. It'll all be lifted, it'll be gone." And then things took a turn.
Like a few days into those 2 weeks, we were like, oh,
Yeah.
never mind.
Yeah. So basically, um, all of the characters, it kind of ties into their stories are under the assumption that they'll be getting on with their lives soon when
Hmm.
like that didn't actually happen for California especially. But so the day that he's supposed to get out of the nursing home rehab facility is the day that the stay at home order was supposedly supposed to be lifted. And so they struggle with his dementia. And then we get introduced to the estranged son. His name is Diedrich. Diedrich.
Yeah, I think it's Diedrich.
Diedrich. Okay. So he was recently laid off from his job. He has a guitar. I'm assuming it has something to do with music. And so he reaches out to the grandma and he asked her to take him in. And so she says yes, but she also wants him to reach out to the rest of the family to kind of reform their relationship.
Hmm.
Um, and so, yeah, that's kind of her, the grandma's like storyline. She's working with her estranged son to build their relationship back up again, and she's trying to plan a party for her husband who has dementia. And then you have Nurse Maggie, who is Charles's nurse, and then who else is in that storyline? Oh, we also have Adea, who is
Is that the
Sa-
girl on the video camera?
yeah, that's Sade's sister. We never get her name. I'm pretty sure, never.
Okay, okay.
And so she recently moved in with her boyfriend that she just started virtually dating for
She also has
quarantine.
TikTok bangs.
Yeah, she has TikTok bangs, and she moved in with him so she could have sex with him, and then she ends up getting corona, which is
I
so
don't know how.
weird.
They're just like, yeah, now she has it.
Like that doesn't make any sense if she was doing exactly what she was supposed to be doing. She was quarantining and not leaving the house. So how does she get it?
It was just very all of a sudden she was like, yep, I have it, and we'll see. And that was it.
Yeah, we don't know if she lives or she dies because she was like kind of sick when we last see her, and she's like the doctor says it could take a turn on week 2, and then we never find out anything about her again.
Yeah.
That was
It was
so weird.
yeah.
Okay.
Um,
You could talk about the next family.
so like also they're kind of in the storyline. This is where they like tried to connect them. So this this girl, I thought she was a redhead. I don't know her name, but she like comes home from college, and so it's like kind of, oh, like probably the people watching this show are like kids who came home from college and are grumpy or whatever. She had to come home from college to live with her parents, and she was going to have her boyfriend like quarantine with them, but he breaks up with her the day before quarantine's supposed to happen. And there's also this other storyline within their family that the dad and the mom are actually separated, and they were going to tell her when she came home from college, but she came home because of quarantine, and then her boyfriend broke up with her, and it just didn't seem like the right time. So they've been trying to keep it secret this whole time. And the the dad also has a girlfriend who sucks, and the mom is like, I put my career on hold to raise our kid, and like you weren't alive. Like, not like alive. She was like, she said that to him. She was like, why weren't you this alive when we were together? So that was like kind of their separation story. But
It's kind of
this,
funny because Sade says the same thing to James. And so you have Sarah and Paul, like the two parents,
oh, that's their names.
those are their names, having the same issues that James and Sade have. Like, can you just leave it to like one couple to have that issue?
Yeah. And also, so their kid, the redhead girl, she's like, her one of her teachers in high school was the grandma, so they got an invitation to their anniversary party. I Okay, like that wasn't necessary. And like other plot lines within that family is like, I guess Paul is a dad. His girlfriend follows the girl on
Sophie,
Instagram.
that's her name.
What is her name?
Sophie.
Sophie. Okay, so Gigi follows Sophie on Instagram and is like commenting on all her posts, and like she sends. So one of the nights, Sophie sneaks out for a party because she's trying to make her ex boyfriend jealous, and then someone posts a picture of her online, and Gigi sends it to Paul, and they're like, "Oh, my mom's got corona now, and everything's ruined." And but then since they haven't told Sophie that they're separated, she's like, she scrolls through Gigi's account and is like, "Oh my god, my dad's having an affair." And they're like, "No, like we're separated." But then they're like, "We're just gonna get back together."
That's so much to
And
put
then
your kid
forget
through.
about Gigi.
Yep. Do we ever actually find out what happens with Gigi and Paul?
I think they break up and the dad said, "I want to stay with my family."
Okay. That's good at least. Can we just talk about how annoying Sophie is?
She
Like,
sucks.
she goes to Sarah Lawrence, so like that's enough to know what her personality is. No offense to anyone who goes to Sarah Lawrence. But, you know, not my cup of tea. And she was like she talked about how obnoxious it was for Jordan to be going out and like not going out as in like partying, but just like leaving his house during quarantine, but then goes to a party to make him jealous.
A corona themed party.
Like, oh my god. Are you
Yeah.
It's almost as if some boomer wrote this whole entire script. Well, okay, I have some thoughts on who wrote the script, but we'll get into that later. But for Sophie's storyline, it seems like a boomer wrote the script and just like thinks that's how all college students act. Which is like, okay, yeah, a lot of them do that, but then there are most people like in March through May stayed quarantined, did not leave their house.
Yeah. And then there's one other storyline.
Who?
Oscar and Elle.
Oh, I forgot about them.
That was yours.
Oh, that's me. Okay. So you have Oscar and Elle. They're two best friends who are a little too close, in my opinion. Definitely in some scenes. And
Mm-hmm.
so Elle plays the guitar. She is in love with Oscar, or at least she thinks. But then she kind of creepily likes her neighbor, who she
Okay,
watches shower.
they just like watch this man shower outside. Like, how do you think that's okay?
First of all, that's predatory behavior. And second of all, who would shower naked outside when your neighbors have a balcony and can watch you and see you?
I know. And he was like, I'm flipping houses and my showers, like the bathroom's being renovated, but like, put some bathing suit shorts on, man.
Yeah, some swim trunks. I don't want to see that. Yeah, so Ella's also really annoying because she's kind of an elitist. She thinks that she's really unique because she reads books. Like, wow. Thank
Yeah.
you. So I kind of hate her. There's Oscar, they're non-binary. And they start virtually dating this guy named Sean. Oscar's a stylist, and I like their makeup. That's all I have.
Let me see.
Oh, I also well, that's all I have for Oscar. I have Sean and
Oh,
Adam
okay.
though.
Well, for Oscar and for Elle, they like set up dates for each other. They find someone on Tinder or whatever and swipe right, and then they go on dates with the people that Elle picked for Oscar or Oscar picked for Elle, and that's how Oscar meets Sean, and the person that Elle set up with isn't great, but
Yeah.
yeah,
The person that Oscar sets Elle up with is super into
DC Comics.
DC Comics, of all comics to be into. Oh my god, I'm
Like
offending
this is
everyone.
on Freeform. You have to use Marvel.
I
Sorry.
know. Well, I feel like they used DC because they made him seem like such a loser.
Yeah.
So they're like, why don't we give him DC Comics to like? But yeah, so the guy we didn't catch his name, but the guy that Oscar sets Elle up with, super into DC Comics. He also asks to see her boobs after the conversation goes south, which is super weird, and I don't think anyone would do that.
Yeah.
But yeah, then you have Sean. Sean is the person that Elle sets Oscar up with. And he has a past of hooking up with a lot of people. Ooh. He speaks French.
That was one of my like favorite moments. Just like one of the few. I was just like, "Oh, he speaks French."
Yeah. The only redeeming quality of the show is Oscar speaking, or not Oscar, Sean
Oh.
speaking French. And he's also Canadian, so that also makes him just an elite human being.
Yeah, he has dual citizenship.
So he can escape whenever he wants, unlike the rest of us.
Yeah.
Oh, and then you have Adam, the neighbor that Elle falls for. So Adam, you first think that he's some sort of handyman who exclusively wears Carhartt. However, you soon find out that he can read. Whoa! And he also, so he flips houses for a living, but he is a writer. And so this is so annoying. I hate it. Um, once he like once he starts to fall for Elle, they start calling each other and stuff. She throws a book at him. He gives her normal people to read, and so he's an elitist too. Um, he starts writing a book. Guess what the book is called? Love in the Time of Corona. I've never wanted to punch someone more in my entire life.
And if it's the same plot as this show, it's not going anywhere.
I really don't think it will be receiving a Pulitzer Prize,
Yeah.
unfortunately. So, oh, the only person that we've missed two people so far.
We have?
Yes. So we missed Charlie, the baby, who we never
Oh.
get to see
Yeah,
because
it's
he doesn't exist. I guess like they couldn't find a couple who had a baby to act for the show, or they just didn't want to write a baby in, like, give a baby any lines. Because like filming with babies is really unpredictable, and so they only had 2 weeks. So they
and
just never
Charlie's
show
always napping.
they never show the kid. Like, is he alive if he's always napping?
No,
That's what I want to know.
it's a girl.
Oh, Charlie's a girl. Okay, sorry. Charlie's a girl. Good luck, Charlie. So yeah, we never see Charlie. I How was I supposed to know she's a girl? Never seen
Because
her.
they say big sister.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so sorry,
That's the only way I knew.
sorry for misgendering the baby in the show. But yes, so we never see Charlie. And then the only person we have left is Sophie's friend, the girl that convinces her to go to the coronavirus party.
The one with the Gucci mask.
Yeah, her only quality is that she wears a Gucci mask and doesn't take the virus seriously.
Yeah, yeah.
So that's the lovely cast that we have.
Yay. So, like, my next few notes are like, I separated it. So, like, I have my cringy moment section, my scenes and quotes that stood out, and then my good plot points, which is none.
I
I have 2 lines, but they're not like plot points. It was just like, oh, maybe I'll like this.
Okay.
So, do you want to go to, I don't know, scenes that stood out, and then cringy moments, and then good plot points? So we high, low, and on a high,
Yeah.
maybe.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think that's a good idea.
Yeah, I only had high points for episodes 1 and 2, or at
Good.
least like the scenes that stood out. So I'll read mine, and then you read yours.
Okay.
Okay. So for episode 1, when we first meet Oscar and Elle, they just like do TikTok challenges, which I don't know. I was like, that's like kind of cringy, but I was also like, no one else was doing anything else at that time either. So,
Yeah, that went into my cringe section, unfortunately.
and then so the other one is the very very first scene of the show. It made me like have high hopes, but then it was downhill from this point on. But you see James and Sade, and he's putting on gloves and a mask and like full on goggles just to go to the grocery store. And I couldn't stop laughing because that's what my mom was like at the very beginning of all this.
Oh
Like,
my god.
we couldn't, like, no one was allowed to go to the grocery store but her. She went at 7 in the morning on like a Thursday, a random day, so there wouldn't be as many people. And then she would take all of our groceries, put them out. We have this like outside building, and she put them out there, and then wiped all of them down, and we couldn't touch them for 3 days. So that's like, it was like, oh, I don't want to relive my March through May.
Yeah. That's kind of how my family was, except we Instacarted everything, but we'd have to wipe it all off with disinfectant wipes. And unfortunately, we did buy stuff from Amazon. I'm sorry. But whenever we like bought stuff from Amazon, we or any package, we left it in the garage for a few days because we
Yeah.
really we were that passionate about staying safe, and we still ended up getting the virus. Yeah. And casually survive coronavirus. Oh.
But yeah, so my other like points for this show in episode 2 is when we find out that I just called him 13 Reasons Why guy because I didn't know his name. Oscar?
Who does Oscar play in 13 Reasons Why?
I don't know. I don't remember.
Are you sure?
Positive. Absolutely positive. But I just wrote that the guy he's dating speaks French, and I was like, that's fun.
We.
And what?
We.
We. And then he also like lists off a bunch of like cheesy pickup lines about like the virus, and then I just thought the first one he said was cute, and it's you can't spell virus without you and I.
That was also in my cringe section.
That's all I had though. I was like, I need something good.
For me, are you done?
Yeah, go
Okay,
ahead.
just making sure. For me, the fact that Paul and Sarah kind of kept their separation from their child and like lived with her and didn't tell her, that was kind of bizarre. However, it was even more bizarre because when she finds out, all she has to say is, "My parents are sus as hell." Like, why is she talking like that? Um, yeah, so that happened. Oh, what? Mm, oh,
These are the good ones. These are the things that stood out.
yeah, that really stood out to
Oh,
me.
okay.
Um, oh, okay. When Elle and Oscar hooked up, we forgot to mention that.
Oh, I put that in cringe.
Oh, yeah, that was cringy, but I feel like it really stood out to me because first of all, it was so bizarre because they were reading their childhood diaries to each other, and then they just started making out all of a sudden, and then they had sex. And then Oscar was like, "I guess I'm leaving you, Sean, because I'm supposed to be in love with Elle." And then Elle was like, "No, no, don't worry about it. You should be with Sean." And then they were both like, "Okay." That's how their story ends.
But also, Elle said to Adam, she was like, "Yeah, the 20 minutes after they wake up next to each other, she's like, yeah, so I guess Oscar and I are in a relationship now." It's like,
Yeah.
huh? No, that no.
You don't drunkenly hook up with your roommate and then say that you're in a relationship now.
They didn't even talk to each other yet. She's just like, yep, we're in a relationship. And I was like, no, 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 you're not.
That's why I hate Elle.
Anyway, sorry, keep going.
I have Paul and Sarah end up together at the end, and I hate it because not everyone has a happy ending. Which I'll get into when I explain my problem with the plot points. Oh, everyone at the end ends up being with who they want to, and then they also end up being friends, lovers, and family again.
Yeah.
But not all three at the same time. That's not what I meant. Um, so moving on. Oh, there's also a dumb car anniversary party at the end. Outside of the nursing home that
Not
Charles
true.
is staying in, not the baby, Charles. Yeah, so there's a drive-by party. That's what they call it, right? A drive-by party,
I
or
think so.
it doesn't sound right when I say it. But yeah, so James is there, Sade is there. The baby is not there. I don't know how they found a babysitter. Um Diedrich is there. Uh Obviously grandma and grandpa are hosting the party, so they're there. James, oh, I already said. Elle and Oscar aren't there. Wait, where
Yeah,
does
they
their
had
story
nothing to do.
connect? Why are they
The
gonna
only way
what?
the only way that their story connects is that at the very end, Oscar and Sean are back together, and Sean has a plane fly a massive banner through the sky that says something about love doesn't stop because of Corona, something like that. And then the same banner flies over their party.
Yeah, and I wouldn't
That's
say
it.
that's so annoying. They're gonna connect all of the storylines except theirs. Oh, that makes
Yeah,
me so mad.
that's why I was like, you like really like got halfway there, and then we're like, whatever.
Yeah. Okay, so that's basically all I had. That was kind of a clusterfuck of information.
I mean, we can move on to the cringy moments then.
Oh God. Should we talk about plot points and then moments? Like cringy or bad plot points and or cringy moments.
I just did cringy moments because the whole thing was a cringy plot point to me. So,
Can I talk about my issues with the plot?
yeah, yeah.
Okay, so I believe that a robot wrote the script.
It's-
It's almost as if they tried to jam in as many buzzwords as they could possibly come up with. Like, they created some sort of algorithm filled with every news headline from March until May.
yeah,
and a robot wrote a script for that. Like they say mask, virus, quarantine, social distancing, shelter. This sculpture has been sheltering in place. Like, ugh, why?
Yeah, that was like my thing like throughout all the episodes. It's like everything that they talked about is like, oh, this is what you're supposed to do in quarantine, and like this is like I didn't say it as eloquently as you just did, but actually, every like they just keep trying to be on trend this entire time.
Mhm.
It's like I don't know. It's like I'm over this. I don't want you to be on the quarantine trend. I want to be thinking about something else now.
Yeah, like we have to endure like so much right now as a hold on, let me
People.
as people on this earth have to endure so much right now. And I don't want to be reminded of how awful this time has been. I want to immerse myself in something that makes me feel good and not anxious.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like moments like when they say like, "Oh, this sculpture has been sheltering in place," or like when they think that Sarah has the virus, they say, "Do you have a fever, cough, shortness of breath?" Like it's just stuff like that that really grinds my gears. It's kind of like when I write an article and I try to fit as many SEO terms as I can into it to gain views on my article. It's like they did that with this show.
Yeah. Yeah, they really did.
Mhm.
Is that your do you have more plot points?
Yeah, but I feel bad for ranting.
I mean, how about I like say a few moments and then you like add in a plot point
Okay.
or like add in a moment so we can break up the anger.
The anchor.
Um my other cringy moment in episode 1 was that Oscar and Elle were watching Adam shower.
Yep.
Just and it's not like kind of like sneaky. It's like we're going to stand at the edge of our balcony and look over at him.
It's gross.
It's gross. Like why would you add that in? There's other ways, like just like watch him working in the backyard.
Yeah.
Don't watch him showering naked.
Yeah. What about when Elle and Oscar are taking a bath together and Oscar is shaving Elle's legs?
Yeah, and but Elle's in a bathing suit then,
Yeah, and we don't
like
know what Oscar's wearing.
yeah, which is like good, but why couldn't you put Adam in a bathing suit?
Exactly.
Ugh.
It's gross.
Ugh. And then in season 2, I hope there's no season 2. In episode 2, it's like very very clear that the dad and the mom are gonna hook up.
Oh yeah.
Like just the way they're like looking at each other and talking, it's just like, no thanks. And they also like do this dance party thing to
Oh.
cheer Sophie up. Like, please, no, that doesn't cheer anybody up.
That makes me sad actually. That hurts my soul. Um
I guess this is also kind of a plot point though. It really bothered me how Elle and Oscar had this massive like house slash apartment that they lived in LA that they definitely could not afford.
oh yeah. Oscar is a stylist, right? So they probably are not making any money because they can't style anyone at this moment. And then Elle is a singer-songwriter who hasn't made anything that anyone has listened to ever.
She wrote one jingle, which is not enough to live on. Like, yeah, jingles like it can bring in good money, but like that's not enough for you. Like one is not enough for you to live off of.
No, really not. Unless you're the person that sings oh what's 1-800 Empire today. Oh no, it's no wait, it's wait, hold on. It's
That
one
was
eight
right.
hundred 588 2300 Empire today.
I think everyone across the country's heard that one.
Yeah,
At least I hope.
that guy's probably a billionaire.
Yeah,
Jeff Bezos is shaking in his boots.
he's quaking.
Uh,
um, my one other like cringy thing for episode 2 was when Sophie decided that it was a good idea to take a picture of her parents sleeping and then post it online with hashtag relationship goals.
Yeah,
What?
I wrote that down too. Like her first of all, sleeping with her parents at the age of 18 or 19 is kind of weird to begin with. And then taking a picture of her parents sleeping, taking she just like films the weirdest things, and it's kind of
Yeah.
it makes me feel a little weird, her relationship with her parents.
She also like made her mom move out of her spot in bed. She's like, I'm not sleeping in the middle. Like, you move over. But like, what person? Like, are you like that selfish? Like, that's your mom's bed. Like, she can stay in her spot.
Exactly. It would have been weird though if she slept between them though.
It's like the whole thing's weird,
It's
but
weird
like
either way.
being like, mom, move over.
So that happened. Wait,
I really.
speaking of online, when Elle is like running upstairs to avoid Oscar, says that she's going to check the CDC website to see if they have any other updates. Like, tell me that a robot wrote that. Like, it was not a human, robot only.
Yeah, yeah. It's like when you like force a bot to watch like 1,000 episodes or like read 1,000 pages of something and then have them write a script.
Exactly. It's like they did that with news headlines.
Mm. I like the one where it's like an Olive Garden, like you watch the Olive Garden commercial like hundreds of times. Infinite breadstick.
I like the one where they watch like every musical, like they read every musical script.
Yeah, they're good.
Yep,
But for episode 3, I really didn't like write anything cringy down.
I did.
Okay, you take over.
Is that one? Is episode 3 when Sean says he's not virtually seeing anyone else?
I think so.
Yeah, why did he have to say virtually? That's
I
what
don't
I'd love
know.
to know.
He's
Is
seeing other people in person.
he's hooking up with other people. He's dating around, but he's virtually not seeing anyone else. The
Yeah.
perfect way to get around cheating on your partner. Yeah. Oh, also, I think that's the episode where we see Gigi's Instagram, and
Oh,
she has captions like "pie plus lattes equals Pilates." And you're like, that doesn't make sense, first of all.
I
And then
loved like whoever wrote this has never used Instagram in their life.
it was a robot, a boomer robot. The boomers invented this robot to make this script and to attack Gen Z and millennials.
Honestly, I think you're right. I'm convinced.
No, also in this episode, Sade cries over burned biscuits and then says to James, I burnt my biscuits, but what if we're toast? Who wrote this? I hate it.
He's like, "Did you burn that too?"
Yeah. Like, stop. No one talks like that. Oh, and then the last thing I have about this one is Oscar and Elle make fun of, or no, maybe this is episode 4, but it's somewhere around there. Oscar and Elle make fun of lesbians, which is just like not a good look for them.
Maybe I don't think I picked up on that. I probably wasn't paying attention.
Yeah, they were like, "Oh, we're jumping into this relationship too quickly. What are we, lesbians?" Like, why? That's such a tasteless joke. Like, why would you insert that?
Yeah.
That's awful.
Yeah.
Especially,
That's episode 4 though, I'm pretty
oh,
sure.
sorry.
No, that's okay. Go.
Oh, it's especially annoying for like a freeform show who tries so hard to be what they think is inclusive.
Yeah. Like for episode 4 though, I don't know, like the cringiest thing is that you realize they slept together and that Elle thinks they're quote unquote together and like breaks up with Adam because oh we're in a relationship now.
Oh God.
That was it.
I think I have when Paul and Sophie imitate Italian accents and have that weird night in Venice for Sarah. And then I wrote Sophie films the whole thing, which is so annoying.
Like it's so like Sarah's supposed to like be going to Italy to write a travel article for Condé Nast, and it
Yeah.
gets canceled, and they like do this night in Venice for her, which is like sweet, but also like what? Yeah.
Again, tasteless. Oh,
And yeah.
oh, and at the end, Sean sends Oscar that really dumb plane confessing his love
Yeah.
because they say I love you to each other at the end of it. Well, Oscar says I love you to Sean, but Sean doesn't say it back, which is like acceptable because I feel like they've only been dating for a few days, virtually dating. They haven't even met in real life. So yeah.
And then everything's connected at the very end, and that's about it.
Yep. Mhm. Oh, wait, I have a few more moments from episode 1.
Oh, good.
So something that really bothered me was when they blatantly have product placement like the core. I don't know what kind of drink it is. It's like coconut water. They like have really annoying
Oh,
product
that's water.
placement.
That's just water.
Yeah. So that's annoying. And very LA. And then when Sophie's lying in bed with the bag of Lay's, like that's also annoying. Like I see right through that.
I didn't pick up on any of that, so like you really didn't get me there,
Oh, sorry.
marketing people.
Yeah, so that was weird. Oh, and then Elle talking about cactus pancakes that she ate one time went after hiking in LA because she's a fucking
um,
elitist. I hate her.
yeah, she was like when she was talking to that her first date online, they were like listing off all these places. It's like, okay, like name drop every place in LA, okay? No one else cares.
No one cares. Oh, and Sean talking about how he used to live in the meatpacking district of New York. New York?
Yeah.
Yeah, New York. And he's like, they don't call it the meatpacking district for nothing. And then you're like, why did you need to insert that? Please stop.
Yeah.
Um, and then the last thing I have is when Ella professes her love to Oscar, she says that she wants to have babies. That
Yeah,
was
she's
so
like, I wanna be the person you have babies with and get married and
weird.
why?
That's so weird.
Like, yeah, and I mean, like, moving on to the really good plot points, the only thing I said, well, only two things I said, was I think the old couple will be my favorite plot line unless the man dies, then I'll cry. And at the very end, I said, I think Adam is my favorite character.
Adam's great. I love him.
Like, see, when I started this and it was like 4 episodes, I was like, okay, it'll keep going. There's a lot of like the old man could die.
Yeah.
That always gets me. Just saying.
Are you a fan of The Notebook?
No.
It kind of follows that plot line.
Yeah.
What I liked about the show, I appreciate how they were able to film this show, and I like Oscar's makeup. They have really nice makeup. I like how Sean can speak French. The grandpa is so cute. I want to try some of Nanda's cooking, the grandma, her cooking, and I liked the part where the grandma explains her wedding day with the grandpa. And I may have thought about perhaps crying, but then I remembered how bad the show is and that it's not worth my tears.
Yeah. Yeah, I think the like what we can take away from this is that old couples are cute and sad. That's about it. Maybe like don't write shows about coronavirus and quarantine.
That was the other thing I kind of wanted to like talk about my problem with the plot. Like jump in whenever like you want to say something, but the show isn't really about regular people dealing with the virus. It's kind of about rich people who live in LA and they're super like modern open concept apartments and houses who haven't been displaced or are in any sort of financial trouble. Like you kind of get that with Diedrich, but his story isn't at the forefront of the show at all.
Yeah.
Yeah. And like it doesn't follow any essential workers or any it kind of so it touches on the black people who are disproportionately affected by it, but only through Sophie, an annoying white girl talking about how black people are disproportionately affected by the virus to her racist boyfriend and then going to a party. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Do you have anything to add to that?
uh, no, I don't.
Do you
No.
agree? Disagree?
I agree. I agree.
Okay.
I'm like disappointed in the show.
Yeah.
Like I wanted to like I would not keep watching this. I wanted to stop after episode 1, but I told Lauren that I would at least do episode 2 and she was like, "There's only 4. Keep going." So I did.
Yeah.
And I regretted it.
Oh, I have another good thing about the show.
Yeah.
We can appreciate the fact that each episode is only 30 minutes.
Yeah, no, well, honestly, they were only like 24 because no commercials.
I had ads.
Oh.
Sadly.
Except for the last one. The last one was like almost 40 minutes.
The last one I had to skip through, honestly. Sorry, I didn't watch all of them in full.
I had to.
But yeah, this show made me feel so sad. And like, if you're gonna film a show during this time and you're gonna do something so unique, like the way that they filmed this, they could have made it have like a happier like plot than just like people living in the coronavirus because they didn't do it right to begin with. And the show doesn't okay, a lot of people are having a lot of trouble getting out of bed in the morning because quarantine has been so hard for them. People are homeless, they're unemployed, they can barely afford to feed their families. There are children who are not eating right now. And it doesn't show any of that. Like I don't care about your modern farmhouse mansion in LA. I don't care to see how you are doing. Like this doesn't show normal families struggling with the virus. It shows people who are privileged in LA right now. And it very surface level touches on black issues, which is annoying because if you're going to do it, you should go all in. And yeah, it makes me feel alone because it doesn't show that people are having a tough time mentally right now. Like if you're depressed right now, if you are struggling with your mental health right now, you seem alienated watching the show.
Yeah. Like everything works out, and even like Said's sister, like she just like has someone she moves in, and like everything works out. Like even though James warns his mom not to bring Diedrich in, like he comes and then everything's good, and it's like I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Like we reached 6 million cases this week. Like the virus is not over, so the show can't be reflecting on the virus like it's over. Like we don't have a happy ending right now. The ending is still we're still in it. We're not at the end yet, but this show treats the virus like we're at the end and looking back on it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I also like I do you know who this show was written for? Like who was meant to watch this? Like their target
I have
audience?
no idea. I couldn't tell you. Like I don't know.
Yeah.
It doesn't doesn't fit for anyone.
No, I can't think of a group, some sort of demographic, like age or like anything that this would fit into.
Yeah. I have no idea. It's very weird. It's a very weird show.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if it had been like a virtual dating show, could have gotten into that.
Yeah.
And I feel like that would have made more sense.
Yeah. Or like if they had made this a show that the virus wasn't the center of, like just to like show families like in their relationships.
There's a lot of different ways this could go
Hmm.
that would have all been better.
Yeah.
Would you keep watching this?
Um, hmm. I think I'm gonna have to go with no here.
Yeah, me too. Well, that's rough that we didn't get a good one, and not what we thought would be at all. But
What a sad ending to this episode.
I mean, give us something good for next week, everybody. Like anything else.
Wait, I'm gonna try to find a happy thing to bring up for the end. The only thing I have is Sean can speak French.
C'est la vie.
Oh God. Yeah, I can't find any.
All right. Well, if you'd like happier episodes from us and more lovely content, you can follow us on Instagram at How Have We Never Podcast, and also like us on Facebook
Oh, we have
with the
Twitter
same.
now.
We have Twitter now. It's at How Have We Never. At How Have We Never Podcast is too long. We're also getting all of our episodes up on YouTube if you prefer to listen through YouTube. And you can find us wherever you find your podcast, I guess. Just type in How Have We Never Seen This Before podcast on Google, and there's lots of options that come up. Some that we didn't even know of.
Yeah.
So that's fun. This was a show. And
A sad excuse for a show.
and we'll see you next week. Bye.
Bye.
Hey, congratulations, you've made it to the end of our podcast. We hope you enjoyed listening. How Have We Never Seen This Before is produced by Isabel and Lauren. The music is by Scott Holmes. The podcast art is by Michael Beaumont over at Monitor Comics, and our social media is run by Lauren Cola. Thanks for listening.